Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session on answering questions with data, or getting started with analytics particularly. So, my name is Benedict, I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself, I am an experienced coding specialist and digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in the digital creative industry. I've worked in this sector for over 20 years. I would also like to introduce our amazing moderator, Emma. Emma is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering just about all of your questions via the instant chat to the right. You can identify the moderator by her name, Emma, as well as a little blue spanner next to her name. Now, just before we get started, I want to call out a few things just to help you today. Firstly, if you're having any trouble viewing the webinar, please do try refreshing your page. If you would like to join the instant chat, and there's a great opportunity, don't miss out on it, it's all free and everything, so you do need a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking on the box on the right. We will be pausing throughout the session, and hopefully Emma will kindly pass on some of the questions across to me, so do fire away with your questions throughout. Just to let you know, we are running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of courses. If you would like to check out the schedule of courses, there is, you just need to check out just down below. There's a description and everything which links you through to our website. Okay, so that's the housekeeping done. Let us get started on answering questions with data. Okay. All right, so today we're going to cover the three main points. Ask the right questions. All right, because the big thing is, of course, you've got to understand the really important questions to ask about your online activity. You've got to understand, then you need to understand how we can actually make sense of online data to actually answer these questions. And then finally, understand how to use analytics data to understand what it tells us about our business. So, what questions do you need to answer to help you achieve your goal? And then which reports can actually help you find the answers that you need? And then what are your next steps as a result? All right. So, let us now get started. It'd be really great if you can share with us the different places you're signing on from. It's always fascinating to see the different parts of the world you're signing on from. So if you do that, that would be fabulous. Okay, on the chat, that is. All right, I'm going to carry on, but I'll keep my eye open for that if there's anyone who's signing on and everything. Welcome Claire, welcome Kanishk that I see who are on here, and Graphic Point, welcome. All right, so let us get started here now. Just one thing I want to point out, there is free one-to-one mentoring available from Google. At present, it is actually only for the UK. Hopefully, eventually this will expand to be different countries and everything, which would be great. But at present, if you are part of a small business or charity in the United Kingdom, you can sign up for Google Mentoring at g.co/UK mentoring. Thank you very much, Emma. Emma's providing you with a link there so you can check it out. Okay, welcome Claire from Taunton, Somerset, excellent. And Melek, welcome Melek from London, that's great. And Ezekiel signing up from Nigeria, excellent. So welcome everyone. It's really interesting just to see the different places you're signing on from. So yeah, so this is a great opportunity. I'm afraid at the moment it's only the UK, so great opportunity, and we can give you feedback, be one of us helping you and assisting you. Let me just quickly put in here, welcome Midun at Virginia, USA, excellent, and M. Kiza in Pakistan, excellent. All right, I'm doing my best with the pronunciation. All right, let us now get started with all the three different sections we're going to be covering today. So, the first one here, asking the right questions. All right, we're going to look at the most important questions you should be asking and answering using data about your business, and in particular about how it is actually doing online. And welcome Nicole from Dubai and Gitika from the UK. All right, I need to concentrate on this. I'll come back to this later if I'm welcoming you. So asking the right questions. So let's have a look at this. So we're going to have a look at an overarching 4-step framework, getting answers from data, all right? So getting the right answers, of course, involves asking, obviously, the right questions. So this is our overarching framework for today's data session. I know a lot of people say data, I say data. Got to be different, but you understand what I'm saying. So it's a framework for actually thinking about the types of goals or objectives you should be setting to measure the success of your business online. So we've got over here, we're going to go through each of these. What is my objective? What question do I need to address? Where do I get that information from? And what do I do with that information? Let me just point out, which I didn't mention when we got started with this talk, you can follow this talk up till 24 hours. If you miss anything, you can go back to the talk within those 24 hours to check out. There'll be the same URL address and everything to check out the video again with the comments and everything. So you can go back. You've got 24 hours, obviously, then it'll be taken offline. So just remember that. So if there's something you missed or anything, you can go back within the 24. I wouldn't do it now. Obviously, you're missing out in the live chat that we're having at the moment. But you've got those 24 hours. Okay. All right. First of all, we need to define what our objectives are. What is my objective? Okay, so obviously this is what the state of your business is in at the moment, what stage you're at and everything. So what is your objective here? So objectives, you know, there are many things you can track and measure using data from the internet. To a certain extent, there can be almost too much. And I've spoken to a lot of people who've, when I've been mentoring, a lot of companies they've said, yes, we're on Google Analytics. Yes, it looked good last week. Okay, great. So what have you done with this? What have you learned you can do with this? And of course, like a lot of people are going, I don't know. So of course, it's making sure that you're asking these kind of questions so you know what you're actually going to be working towards. So one reasonable question is, you know, what is important to track, you know, and what is not important to track. So your online objective should tie in to what your business is trying to achieve. It's got to go with what you could say the brick and mortar business goals, you know, so they all work together. So we cover defining your online objectives in our digital marketing strategy session. So if you would like to learn more about it, that's the digital marketing strategy. Check out the schedule in the description below for those particular talks. Okay, so let us continue. So what question do I need to address? To get the right data, you've got to frame the question correctly. All right. So we're going to be using a framework here. It's what's called the REAN framework. Reach, engage, activate, nurture. Again, of course, it's a funnel. So we're building it around this funnel and your particular stage that you are at with your company. So the framework, you know, so if we have a look at the different things, so reach, who is my target audience and how do I reach them online? Okay. So particularly when you are reaching out to people and everything and getting more and more customers and clients who are actually seeing your website and finding out about you, then of course you're at that stage of reach. Then when they actually get to the website, of course there's engage. Are they actually finding what they need? And then when they do find what they need, you know, are they actually clicking on the things to buy and everything, activate? Are they actually booking, for example? What's called the call to action, those buttons to click on to book, to buy, or whatever it might be. And then the last stage is when you've got those clients and everything, nurture, are they coming back for more? All right, so let's go through a couple of the different points a little bit in more detail. So reach questions. For example, how are people finding me online? All right, so we're going to be covering some of these different things. All right, how are people finding me online? And then the other one is, for example, another one you could be asking is, what are my target customers searching for? So for example, what is in their keyword, in their search engine? What are they actually searching for? What particular things? To give you an idea, to make sure that you're matching what they're searching for, and if not, then there's something called negative keywords that you can be setting as well. All right. Then the next stage is engage questions. So what are people engaging with once they're actually finding me online? Because the point is, with Google Analytics, you can see all of that. And I'll be introducing you to Google Analytics, going through a couple of the different points. But certainly you can see how long they spent on the different pages. And for example, if they spend a very long time on the payment page and then they don't follow through, then maybe there's issues with making sure that they can buy it very quickly and easily. You've got to make sure that all of that is nice and clear, for example. Okay. And then there's which of my online communications are people engaging with the most? Okay. So this can be very helpful. It can really give you an idea. Let's say you've got a blog and they're reading a particular blog and there's masses who are going particularly to that blog. That gives you a lot of feedback on what people are particularly looking for. And if they then follow through and actually buy, that can be really helpful as well. Okay. So that is engage questions. Then we've got activate questions. Which channels are driving bookings? All right. So in other words, which particular channels are bringing people who are then going ahead and booking or buying or whatever it might be. Now, it doesn't have to be with booking or it doesn't have to be with buying. It can be, of course, if your company is one which is, not non-profit and everything, then it could be downloading a PDF or that kind of thing. And you can set certain things like that to watch those and set particular goals to track that. So which channel, in this context, which channels are driving bookings? And who is my customer? So finding out as much as you can about your customer. That's the activate questions. Then nurture questions. All right, are my customers talking about my business online? All right. And do my customers buy from me again? Do they come back for more? Are they happy with it? Are they, all of those different things. So that's going through some of the basic things with that particular REAN framework. Let us now pause for questions. Let me just see if there's any questions you have so far on what I've covered so far. This is quite early days, I suppose, for the course. We've got quite a lot more to cover. But let me just see. There's no questions at the moment. Okay, don't worry. I'll continue and we'll move on. And don't forget, this is an opportunity. No doubt Emma's answering all your questions, but it's an opportunity to interact with us. So please do fire away with your questions. We're here to help you, particularly around, of course, Google Analytics and all that side. Okay, let us move on to the next section now. Which tools to use? Which tools can we use to get answers to our REAN questions? Now, that's a big and very important thing. All right, so where do I get that information from? So let's take a look at the various tools there are. For example, Analytics, AdWords, Search, Google Search Console, and of course Google Search Console. A lot of these different Google apps work together. So you can use Google Search Console particularly for keywords, and you can use it for that side. And social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, that actually provide you information you need to answer some of the crucial business questions we went through earlier. So there's analytics, not only of course of Google Analytics, there's also of course analytics with YouTube, Facebook Insights, Twitter. Every single piece of social media will always have some form of analytics to help you. Okay, so the tools that we can use. All right, of course there are many tools, as always, we can use to gain insights and answer the questions we've been covering. If you do have a business account on a social media platform, they tend to have their own tools to help you understand, which I've mentioned already. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, for example. And you can also use a tool such as Hootsuite, which actually pulls together your search analytics across platforms. Thank you, Emma. Emma will provide you there with a link for Hootsuite just to help you sort of combine it all together. And you can check your performance in paid search platforms like Google Ads. Of course, you can get feedback from there as well. Organic search, like Google Search Console. So Google Search Console, particularly with keywords and everything. So what people have actually searched for and found your website and clicked on it. And then you can track every click made on your own website using Google Analytics. All right. Okay. I know we're covering a lot of things, but let's take a closer look at some of these different options. All right. So social media page insights. All right. So, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube offer page insights where you can actually see how people are really engaging with your social media and finding you. It's a super handy tool, if you have a Facebook page set up for your business, particularly if you're all based around that. So some businesses don't actually set up separate websites. So social media might be your main way to engage with customers. It's the most important thing is whatever works best for you. And there are free tools on all business pages, measure all on-page activity, get information about page fans and all the rest. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. I'll just zoom in just so you can see it a little bit closer. So you can hear the different information, the feedback, page summary, the number of page views, page likes, post engagement, reach, page followers. So you get all of this organic and paid, so you can compare some of the different things here as well. So it gives you some of the different ideas to help you get use all of this different things and get feedback from it. All right. Google Search Console is a free product. Now, as soon as your website actually goes on the internet, Google does detect it and, of course, gets as much information as they can about the website and indexes your particular website. The point of Google Search Console is twofold. One of them is it'll give you feedback about your website. So, for example, if you haven't optimized your images, you might be wondering what optimize images. What it is it cuts out any wavelengths we can't see. Sorry to superheroes, but what we can't see. And then it compresses the image. The main part is it compresses the image so that it's not as much memory, so it's quicker for loading. So Google Search Console, for example, give you that. And also, to give you another example, alternate text. A person who is blind or has problems with their sight, the computer will read to them the text on the page, and of course they can't read an image, so they will read the alternate text. So ideally it's describing as much as what a person who has eyes gets from it. So that's one of the sides. So it gives you feedback on your page. That's one side. And the other side, which is really important, is it actually gives you a lot of different feedback about your website. The ranking in organic search, when people type keywords into Google and your site appears on the results page, and what search terms their site is being ranked for. So it also integrates with Google Analytics, of course, so that you can see your Search Console data in Google Analytics. And if there is a need for, pairing them up and everything, verifying that, they work together, then of course you can see a lot of this information within Google Analytics. So here we've got here, I'll just zoom in a little bit because it's a bit small. So you've got here performance, and you can see here total clicks, total impressions. Impressions appears on the screen, but they don't click on it. And then you've got the results here, and this is over time and everything. And you can see down here, which is really useful, what people were actually typing in, what were the keywords that got a response here. All right, so that's just some of the different things that is covering. All right, okay. Google Business Profile, it's very useful as a tool for organic search insights. One of the big things is, of course, with Google Business Profile, what used to be called Google My Business, now it's called Google Business Profile. It particularly puts your website on the map. Now, if you're worrying about setting yourself on the internet and giving your own home address, don't forget that the first communication is just with Google. Then make sure for the public that you're choosing a region if you work from home, for that kind of thing. Okay, it's got its own insights, Google Business Profile. As you can see over here, information to help you direct and discovery. So 39,709 searches. Whoa. And where customers view your business on Google. So it's giving you some feedback there as well. And of course, do people find you on a map? Then click for directions or give you a call, which is really useful as well to get that information. Okay, on to the big one here now. Google Analytics as a tool for website insights. Of course, you can sign up for free. Now, most popular website analytics tool. It monitors every click on your site. And we'll take a closer look at Google Analytics after I've answered some of your different questions, or if there are any around this. It's about to get onto that now. But of course, there's a lot of information you get here. And, you know, a lot of feedback you can get. Okay. All right. Let us move on to pausing for questions. I'm actually doing really well for time, almost too well for time here. Okay. Excellent. So, Kanishk, can we use Google Analytics for keyword research? Absolutely, you can. But don't forget, excuse me, sometimes you need to link up your Google Search Console. Make sure you've got Google Analytics. I'd recommend anyway you sign up for Google Search Console to get feedback anyway, but also to connect to the information. Normally it works automatically, but just in case there's any issues, you can check up on that. But yes, you can use Google Analytics for keyword research, absolutely. You can use, certainly, well, let me put it this way. If you're wanting to look for keywords, if you're looking for keywords, the way that I'd recommend that you do that is you go into Google Ads, because Google Ads has got a keyword planner. So you can use that free of charge keyword planner. The only problem with Google Ads is when you sign up, it'll force you to set up a campaign. However, if you want to take your own time, you can always set it up, cancel immediately. You're not paying it, and then you have access to top right on Google Ads is down as settings. If it's down as settings, you click on it, you go into expert mode, it changes to tools and settings. Often they are set up automatically as tools and settings, but just in case you don't have it there. And that's where you can actually do a lot of research to help you. I hope that helps you, Kanish. This is more Google Analytics. It will be as well Google Search Console. It's more what people are actually searching for. You're finding, you know, it's kind of more the feedback for that side. Bobby Ansovaita, I'm not pronouncing very well, I'm doing my best. Hi there. Do you think it would be wiser to use each of these tools individually or combine these into one with Hootsuite? I think it's a really good idea if you do use a tool like Hootsuite to combine a lot of the different things to help you out, to a lot of the feedback, for example. Then it's easier to keep control of. Now, don't forget, using Hootsuite, you are still using the tool individually, but it's just a channel to channel them all together so you can keep an eye on them just within Hootsuite. So whilst you do need to set up the tools individually, you can channel them all through one place and they'll be Hootsuite. So it's kind of like, Bobby is kind of like answering yes to both, you know, set up with each, but then, you know, have them coming through. One of the things as well, though, what I recommend is certainly with social media, and if you're running your own company and there's a lot of, you know what I mean, there's a lot of different work you're having to do. I understand completely, especially with marketing and all the rest, but you're having to run your company, and, you know, I know time is a major issue. I certainly would recommend you start with one or two different social media, or just one. You know, if you think that one, according to checking out with your competitors, this one seems to work best, or whatever it might be, then, you know, maybe just start with one, try it out. And if it's not working, then of course start another one, and then, you know what I mean? But don't over stress yourself with too much. Catherine Novianti Mikkelsen. Okay, great, excellent, nice name. So what's the difference between Google Search Console and Google Keyword Planner? Okay, Google Search Console is actually really, Google Search Console is giving you feedback on what people are searching for on your website, okay? Whereas Google Keyword Planner, you are looking for keywords from Google search engine to find out the number of people who are searching for those particular keywords. So it's giving you just feedback just as a general rule. Whereas Google Search Console is giving you feedback how people found your website. Yeah. So Google Keyword Planner is when what people are searching for. Google Search Console is when people have found your website by searching certain keywords. I hope that helps. So one is kind of more the feedback side, so you can work out how people are finding your website. Whereas Google Keyword Planner, you're finding out how many people use those keywords when they're looking for things. I hope that makes it clear. It is kind of confusing all this side, Catherine. I hope this is Italian, but hopefully that helps you a little bit. With the Google Search Console is really the feedback for your website. Google Keyword Planner is the feedback for what people search for, what keywords they search for. Okay. Which of course you must use largely for things like if you set up a blog and everything, as well as of course your website. Yes, absolutely. One or two keywords, but also if you have a blog, for example, you're going to have a title. So there was a company, so you've got to make sure that your keyword matches what they're really looking for. Okay. So then you would go first to Google Keyword Planner, search for those different keywords which work. Then later, once you've had it out there for a bit of time with the blog, you would go to Google Search Console to see what people are searching for and finding it. And also, of course, Google Analytics. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Kanishk, Bobby, Catherine, for all your questions. And I know that there's many others which Emma has answered. So great. So do please interact and ask all the questions as they come up. All right, let us move on to, good heavens, this is the last section. This is quite a big section, so I'm going to take a bit of time over this one. So use the data from Google Analytics. All right. We're going to use Google Analytics as an example, but remember, of course, to use whichever tool is right for your business, of course. I'm going to help you here with Google Analytics. Google Analytics is totally free. Somebody's got a website and everything, they can set it up and everything, got to verify it and all the rest. They need your address so they can send the postcard and everything to verify it, but it's totally free. Okay. All right. The big thing here is what do I do with that information? And that's partly what I was talking about. There's that cycle. And it's what I was talking about when I said a lot of people say, yeah, we got Google Analytics. Yeah, we checked it out. Okay, so what are you doing with that information? And then it's like, ooh, what am I? And then it's kind of, so you're actually putting that information into operation for making decisions and changes and, making sure you're making the changes correct for your prospective clients or your clients, to make sure they come back and or they find you and all those kind of sides. All right. Okay, so what do I do with that information, which is very, very important to finish that full cycle. Okay, let us now get started. Google Analytics dashboard. Okay, when you first open up Google Analytics, it can be quite overwhelming as there is so much information. Okay, but don't worry. Okay, in this section, I'm going to show you where to locate the information to answer some of those business questions. And Analytics has its own language, so if you don't understand any of the terms, hover on the question mark beside them for an explanation. I'm talking about on your screen, of course. So, for instance, you may see the number of visits is different than visitors because one person visitor can come back for multiple visits, for example. So, it's largely discovering who your users are by geographic location, for example, discovering how you acquire them, visits, when they visit. It covers a lot of different things. This is now the dashboard. Now what is really nice is you can choose pieces of information that you need to check every day, ideally. The big thing is, of course, Google Analytics, like all these different things, is a tool. And I'm a musician. I used to teach music, and I can't remember how many different students have been going, this is great, you practice 3 hours before this lesson, but if you practice just 5-10 minutes every day, it would be so much better because you would have chance to And it's the same sort of thing like with any tool. So Google Analytics as well. If you visit it every day, 5-10 minutes, take down some of the different figures, put it into your spreadsheet, whatever it might be. Okay, fine, I know you've got the graphs, but he's using that information, so you have all the important information you put on your dashboard. It's quick to find. Then you're making it easier for you to access, to use, to put into operation, and helps you just visit it briefly. Not go, oh my God, there's so much. Where is the, you have it on your dashboard, so you can check it out there. All right, so let us move on. So how to set up a Google Analytics account. Okay, now, first of all, you go into analytics.google.com. Thank you very much. Emma, no doubt, has provided you with a link there already, or if not, she'll provide it to you now. Analytics.google.com. The nice thing about these addresses, anyway, they're nice and simple. If it's a Google app, it ends with google.com, and then of course it's got the name just before, and then .google.com. So you go to Google, analytics.google.com. You choose a name for your account, choose an industry or category. Okay. And of course, the name for your account is normally, if you have a business, then of course it's the name of the business. Normally you would choose. Then choose an industry category, you go through all of these different steps. All right. So you can see here, start for free. That's what you're faced with different pictures over there. And then you go through new account. Okay. And then you go through all this process over there. All right. Yes, sometimes industry category can be complicated because there are a limited number of industry categories, but you have to fit yourself into one of those. All right, and the point is you're getting a lot of information back. But of course, obviously, it's kept anonymous. Obviously, we can get certain pieces of information about where they are and all the rest, so demographics and that kind of thing. But it's really just an aggregate level to give you an idea of what your bounce rate is against others, for example, and where people are signing on. Okay, so that's how you're going to be getting started with setting up a Google Analytics account. All right. All right, now we're going to get into something slightly different, which is, let me just go through this with you. Now, Google Analytics 3 has been the default for a very long time. Google Analytics version 3, that's what it is, Google Analytics version 3. What's happening more and more now is, in fact, Emma gave me a link to this one, it's an article and everything, it is halfway through next year, all businesses are going to be changed to Google Analytics 4 halfway through next year. However, a lot of people are getting a little bit bewildered because during this past year and everything, if you're signing up for Google Analytics now, you'll be put automatically onto Google Analytics version 4. So in this talk now, I'm going to be talking about Google Analytics 3, which will be on the screen and everything, and Google Analytics 4, which is not on the screen, just so that you're pre-warned so you know what's going on. All right. So this is after you've set up your account, okay? After you set up your account, what I recommend is you go into Google Analytics, okay? Into your account and everything, you go into admin. That is a cog bottom left of the screen, and when you put your mouse over it, it'll say admin. Click on it. Okay, if you have in front of you 3 columns, you are in Google Analytics version 3. Okay, now the good news is Google Analytics Academy, which Emma will provide you a link for and everything for learning in your own time. It's free training and everything, beginners, intermediate, advanced, just to get used to it and get to know it. The good side is all of those will relate to it. The the bad side is Google Analytics version 4, you're going to have to gradually eventually get used to it. Normally what I recommend is people start with Google Analytics 3. If you're on Google Analytics version 3, get to know it there, and then eventually gradually get to know the second one, which will be Google Analytics version 4. If you've gone into admin, okay, in Google Analytics admin, and there are 2 columns, it means you're in Google Analytics version 4. So 3 columns, Google Analytics version 3, 2 columns, Google Analytics version 4. Okay, just so you know what's going on. All right. So the first thing is you're going to have to get the code, and I'm going to put tracking at just the code to put in to the header of each of the different pages. Okay. So what you have to do is, speaking now for Google Analytics version 3, you go into admin, it is tracking info, tracking code. You can see it over here on the screen. So you can see there's the cog, which is admin, and then you go, in this case it's property, and then tracking info, tracking code, and then of course you get the tracking code, and then of course to track your site's performance you'll need to add the correct tracking code to its pages, or it's the header or the footer. I mean, it's normally just going to be the header of each of your pages. All right, so once the code is found, it needs to be embedded within every page of your website. Of course, the code, sits for the embedding, sits above the, so it's going to be in the head tag for tracking. And keep in mind that every time a page loads, the tracking code will collect and send updated information about the user's activity. Now, Google Analytics groups this activity into a period of time called a session, each of these different things. Now the other side. If you are using Google Analytics for, remember, admin, 2 columns, what you do is you go into admin. I'm afraid I haven't got it on the screen here, but you go into admin. You go into data streams. In property, you go into data streams. Okay, so it's data streams. And within data streams, it is called, you click on then on your website. It'll give you the option, if you've got many different accounts, if it's just one, you click on the website, and then it'll take you through to measurement ID. So tracking ID is changed to measurement ID. And of course, it's obvious why. I mean, tracking now has got a very bad name. You know, tracking does not sound good at all. I mean, the point is, these are all anonymous. It's to give you feedback, to give you information. But the whole point is, it's also measurement. So Google has changed from tracking to measurement ID. All right. Hope that helps you a little bit now with whether you're on Google Analytics version 3 or Google Analytics version 4. All right. Okay. So that's the first part. Let us move on to the next stage now. So how to install the tracking code. Now, when you're actually using a website builder or a blog, whatever, there may be a simple field where you can actually use the tracking ID or measurement ID for your website. Okay. So there is normally, I mean, if it's WordPress, Wix, GoDaddy, or whatever it might be, there is normally a guide of how to do it. Obviously, speak to your hosts to help you, because your hosts are there to assist you and help you. Certainly there'll be a plugin normally. Certainly I know with WordPress, there's always a plugin for putting in the code, and everything is quite nice and simple. If you're working, of course, with the coding, and you're working directly with the coding, you can see as you know where to put it in the header. But there will normally a plugin to help you with that. So, and that's where you put the unique tracking ID. Now, of course, obviously this has changed now with the measurement ID. All right. So that's where you put it and everything. And is either tracking ID or measurement ID that you'll be putting in according to whether it's Google Analytics version 3, Google Analytics version 4. If you are registering with Google Analytics in this year, it's going to be Google Analytics version 4. Okay. Okay, so now understanding the 4 main areas of reporting. Now, all of Google Analytics reports are grouped into 4 main areas to help you answer these questions that we mentioned before. Now, you will see these areas on the navigation menu on the left side of your home screen. Now, again, there's going to be a change with Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics version 4. With Google Analytics 3, there's audience. So who, or Google Analytics 4, there's audience. Okay, who are my users? Who are my users? Audience. Okay, who are my users? Answering that question, who are my users? Audience. Excuse me. So the next one, acquisition for Google Analytics 3 or 4. Acquisition, how did they find me? All right. That's the acquisition. Excuse me. So then the third one, behavior. What do they do when on my site? Now, again, of course, it's not because behavior, we think of the context of children in a class or the worst, monkeys in a cage. So now it's been changed from behavior to engagement because people engaging with your different pages just fits better. So behavior with Google Analytics 3, engagement with Google Analytics version 4. All right. Then the fourth one here, conversions. All right. We still do use with Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4 conversions, and we do sometimes use that word a couple of different times just so you know about it. But for Google Analytics version 4, we talk about in this section for the report monetization. And it's with the English spelling with S. Okay. And what are they worth to you? Okay, so yeah, conversions particularly. All right. Now, for conversions to actually work, goals have to be set up to track specific actions, whether it's Google Analytics 3 or Google Analytics version 4. Now, once you've mastered the basics, this is really definitely worth doing. And then Google will then use that data and show you a series of reports, and they'll add another column of the reports of feedback of the different things and give you the metrics, which I'm going to explain just now, to give you the feedback of that, which is really useful. And what's really nice is you've got those columns and you can set them right at the top. So you can see the ones who are actually buying and then follow their particular engagement, which is useful. All right. Okay, so that's that. So the four main areas of reporting. So audience, who are they? Acquisition, how do they find me? Behavior or engagement, what are they doing? Conversions or monetization, what are they worth to me? Okay, they're coming back. Okay, so let's have a look. Or actually, are they following through and buying? In other words, sorry. Okay. Data in Google Analytics. All right, so this is the way that this works. All right, so information in Google Analytics is laid out in tables. Now, while this is Google Analytics specific, most of the products we have discussed lay out data in a similar way. So the first column, of course, here we see as green, all right, is what is called a dimension, all right? Now, a dimension is an attribute of the customer's website visit. So, for example, if we find ourselves asking a which or what question, it's a dimension. Some examples include device type, city, age, gender, etc. Whereas the blue over here, the metrics, the numbers, okay, is a measure or count of something. So, for example, if we find ourselves asking how many question, that is without a doubt the metrics, the numbers. I have a colleague actually who has his business name as Mr. Metrics, which is interesting as well. But of course, again, he uses masses, lots of information as well with the numbers and all the rest for making decisions. So that's the dimension, the what, and the metrics. And here you can see, for example, default channel grouping, organic search, referral, direct paid search, social affiliates display, and then of course you can see the results carrying on from each of these or going across users, new users, and sessions. All right. Okay, using Rian to ask the right questions. All right. Now we are going to run through the Rian questions we covered earlier in the session and map this to where we can get the information on Google Analytics to find answers. All right. Okay. Let us get started with this. I'm going to give you now with the Google Analytics version 3 version of where to find it. I'm not going to give the Google Analytics version 4 for all of these different ones, but you can find these. If you just Google this, you can find it quite easily. And probably Emma will give you a link just so you can assist with these different things. So how are people finding me online? Reach. All right, let's go through this. So how are people finding me online? Reach. So how are people finding me online? Google Analytics. So with this one here, this is with Google Analytics version 3. You go on to Google Analytics, of course, and then we go on to acquisition, and then we go on to all traffic, and then we go on to channels. So you have a look at the channels report to actually find out the information. So how are people finding me online? Now, as the question is about how people actually find us, so start with the acquisition menu, of course. And how are people getting to your website? And this is in the Google Analytics standard reports under acquisitions, all traffic channels. Now, the interesting thing is, you can see over here, organic search sends us the highest number of visitors with referrals. Actually, yeah, referrals comes in second. So if you click on the link in the blue, it will actually give you further the next level of information or data on that particular thing. So it'll give you more and more information to help you. Now with this one here, with it's giving you quite a lot of feedback. I mean, organic search is really great. If you get organic search at the top, that's really great. And then referral, direct, so they're just typing in the link, social, paid search, affiliates, and display. So these could be the different things that you're bringing in. All right. So now, how are people finding me online? So the big thing is, if you click on the link actually in blue, it will actually take you, as I said already, on the deeper level of organic search. And now if we're doing a lot of posting on social media with the intention to drive traffic to the website, then we can actually track it, arriving from here. So referrals for our other websites that send traffic our way, we could investigate and see whether we can actually strengthen our, if we're getting a lot of referrals from a particular website of another company, we could see if we can build up relationships with them to support each other and everything. And if there are some referral sites and are not doing so well, maybe work together to drive more, how can we work together to drive more traffic and everything? Some of the different things you could be thinking about. So that could be some of the different results that you could get from that information. Certainly the other side of here is that with organic search, those search terms are obviously doing very well. So of course, examining them, working out what particular things about them, where can we use this similar kind of side to bring more people. So using around to ask the right questions. So what are people engaging with when they actually find me online? Okay. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? And of course, as you know, we'll be going on to, you'll probably know, I hope. So you're going to be using, of course, behavior or / engagement with Google Analytics version 4. So you'll be going on to Google Analytics, behavior, site content, and then, of course, all the pages. Sorry. A bit of water to keep me going. Right, so I'm just going to enlarge this a little bit so you can see it. So you're going into behavior, of course, in engagement with Google Analytics version 4, and then, of course, it's all pages, and then that gives you the different pages and how long. Typically, of course, home is right at the top because most people will spend, a lot of the time on the home page, or they will go there right at the beginning. Then, of course, there's basket, sign in, store, your info, search, payment, order completed. You've got all the information across here, all the metrics, okay? So unique page views, average time. Now, this is quite interesting with the average time. Now, if you have a look at these, okay, where are they spending most of their time? Where are they spending most of their time? I'll move you across to help you. So you can actually see which one in particular. Okay. So maybe I'll give you a chance to respond there. I've got the chat there. So if you can see which one they're spending the longest time on, if you just communicate that with Emma, I can see the chat anyway. So I'll just see if you can get that one. Where are they spending the most time? Anyone? No? Everyone's in deep thought about that one. I'll give you one last chance. I know there's a bit of a delay, of course, that's the only problem. So I'll give you one more chance whilst I just show this to you, whilst you have a chance, whilst everything catches up. So which one has got the most? All right, time up. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? So what can we do with this information? Of course, learning which pages are not getting, yes, sorry, the text is very small. Learn which pages are not getting any views, of course, and then discover what is really engaging to our visitors, Of course, largely discovering, that we lose a lot of people at the payment page. This page might need to be simplified. Also, the other side is they spent the longest time on the payment page. Now, it's quite possible that, the process, obviously, in payment, often they've got to get their card or whatever it might be. But just to make sure that it's as fluid as possible, to make sure that it's as least time as possible, so they have no issues with it. And of course, if you get lots of traffic to a page, but a high bounce rate, then, you need to check if you're actually showing them what they want to see when you actually get them. This is a big thing. And you can see if any of the processes you need reviewing, lots of abandoned baskets, for example, might tell us there is a problem, of course, with the checkout again as well. Okay. So that's with Engage, using the different information. Obviously, that's just a dip into it, just to get you started, get your brains going on that one. Let's have a look at this one now. Using Rian to actually ask the right question. So which channel is driving the most bookings? All right. So Activate is, of course, is all about people actually taking the action we want them to take. So it could be a call to action. They click on it, then they buy and everything. It could be as easy to understand as a sale. But if you don't sell online, as I mentioned before, it could be, ordering to book or downloading a white paper or filling in the contact us form, or could be downloading a PDF, for example, with information about the company or whatever it might be, or about the charity, whatever it might be. Okay, so Activate. Now, which channel is driving the most bookings? Now, again, of course, we want to know information pertaining to where people found us. So check out the acquisition area about that. And we looked at this report earlier too, but, still we're focusing on the conversions metrics in the far right corner. Okay, over here. So let me just show you here. Sorry, I know it's small, but I'll take myself off the screen briefly. You can still hear me, just to make it a little bit bigger. So conversions over there, down there, you see. This is what we're concentrating on. And don't forget that, of course, if you don't have the goals set up, then you can't have any of the conversions there. So make sure that you have that set up. So here we're talking about registration translating to table bookings. So acquisition. So what can we do with this information? So identify which referring sites actually drive conversions. For referring sites bringing good quality traffic, can we develop a partnership, for example, and look out for underperforming referring sites? So there's a couple of the different things. The big thing as well is, setting up those goals and everything to make sure you're measuring those, so that actually when they buy, often nowadays it's got much more advanced. It used to be, had to be a page and everything. So after they've bought, thank you so much for buying, do come again, and all the rest page. Now you can have for different functions like downloading, after a function like downloading a PDF or staying quite a long time on a page, all those kind of things you can use. Okay. Nurture. Okay, obviously about what happens after you've actually activated the relationship, when they've actually started. Do they leave a review somewhere? Do they book again? Often I know reviews, all of us, including me, I don't like doing reviews, don't want to waste the time. So try and make it so, obviously if they come into the store, get them to do it there and then. But of course, if it's digitally, maybe could you offer a discount for the next time round or something, so you can get some review from them. Often it's quite difficult. So are my customers happy to leave a review? So this is here now with conversions. This is with e-commerce and custom reports. And here we've got checkout behavior, for example. Checkout behavior, custom reports, that kind of thing can give you the feedback, all right? And because we're looking at a goal, check out the conversion menu. So make sure you do set up goals to actually track. Goals, as I said, don't have to be e-commerce. There can be anything that is a key action for you. Download a document, sign up for something, spend a long time on a particular page, all of these different things. Okay. Of course, are my customers happy to leave a review? Now, obviously, conversions are a bit more advanced, but well worth getting to grips with. So once you've got the basics, you get used to it and everything, you get started, it's very important that you do set up goals to help you, give you feedback. And of course, if you want to learn about dealing with reviews, positive and negative, there's Writing for Social Media, I highly recommend. Of course, it's getting, genuine feedback from people, who've actually bought your products as well. And the big thing is response, because it's quite important that you're proactive, you're helpful, you're trying to solve the problem and everything. And different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review. This is a big thing. What works best, and do more of that as well. Okay, so that's with the nurture. So get genuine feedback, respond to all reviews, and actually encourage them to leave. Okay, so let's see now. Questions answered in chat too. Excellent. So let me just see if I can enlarge anything further here. Bayu Hartono. When it comes to the number of users or visitors, is there any difference about the number of visitors in Analytics and Search Console? Well, no. I mean, it's. I think largely. Emma will have answered a lot of that, so I'm going to leave that in her court. I'm looking at the time as well, but I've just got 2 minutes left. So let me now just finish off everything here now with the last ones. What are your next steps? Okay, we've covered a lot of different things here, a lot of different things, different areas I've covered. A lot to take on board. I reckon just take down some different things you're going to put into operation. Do remember, though, Google Analytics 3, it's 3 columns when you're an admin. Google Analytics 4, it's 2 columns when you're an admin. So, of course, there's a lot to take away. Okay, but don't forget, if you are in the UK, if you have a small business or charity, sign up for Google Mentoring, g.co/UK mentoring. Great opportunity. You can speak to us. We can give you feedback and assist you as best we can. All right. Okay, so everyone, I want to thank you all for your questions. We're going to wrap up now because we're starting to run out of time. I hope that has been a useful dive, particularly into, working with data and getting all that information and how to get the information. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you are interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few ways you can continue learning. We are running many more Google Digital Garage webinars, some of which I've mentioned already, in different subjects. If you would like to check out the schedule of webinars, please see information on this in the description below. There will be different topics available to watch, and we are updating the schedule regularly. Also, if you would like to carry on learning online in your own time, check out the Google Digital Garage website for more online training courses. You can do 24/7. There's one, Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, we recommend. That's about 20 hours. Not in one sitting, don't worry. But yeah, there's a lot of different courses to help you and assist you. Also, we're actually going out as well and visiting many different places. So hopefully we'll turn up in your particular neck of the woods, which would be great. But finally, and also, Emma, thank you so much. You've been absolutely wonderful, absolutely tremendous. And thank you, everyone, for all your contributions, all your questions, particularly which I notice at the moment. I've got in front of me Kanishk, Bobby, Catherine, and Bayu. Okay, and all of you. That's been all wonderful. So, finally, thank you everyone for joining today. We look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. Thank you.